So there's a saying that say that when you go black, you never go back. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's a very true, to the point where I believe that maybe some witchcraft was used. Because why is it that I can't leave this woman? Whereas I joke about a witchcraft, what I mean by saying this is not that there's anything put in my food, although I wonder sometimes, but I just think Germany, I go to Berlin. I'm friends with Isaac Sapetu. He's a great guy. Now, Germany, I'm going there to get the Fuvu ya Mangi Meli be returned. Okay, so what's happened there? Yeah. During the German colonial period, the Germans killed one of the rebel leaders, and his name was Mangi Meli, and they took his skull to Germany and put it in a museum. And he's a Chaga guy, a very old man who's the grandson of this guy, and he wants compensation. He wants the skull back and compensation. But the problem is it's hard for him to go to Germany. It's not hard for me to go to Germany. So I'm going to meet...
You know, usually as Tanzanians, when we see someone of different color speaking Swahili, we're quite amazed. And we usually wonder, how do they learn Swahili? And why are they speaking Swahili? I don't know, for some reason, for me personally, when I see someone else speaking Swahili, I'm like, oh wow. For example, I've once been in another country with someone and speaking Swahili, and it's in the UK speaking Swahili, and I see someone British speaking Swahili too. I was like, oh, mi mwenyewe naongea Swahili. So it's like, oh wow, like you start feeling some sort of joy. Now, today I'm here with my brother Musa, and today we're joined with a very special guest. And I'm sure when he's introduced, everyone will know him because he's famously known for speaking Swahili, for being an ambassador here in Tanzania, for kutuwakilisha in other countries. Musa.
When you say everyone knows him, it's real because, as you know, yesterday we picked him up from the airport, and we got a lot of favors on the way on the road just because of him. You know, on the traffic, we were not staying on the traffic. He just opened the window and say, just by looking, people know it's him, it's Bongozozo. So, you know, he started his journey on social media. What social media can do, it's amazing. But let's not waste more time. Just smash that subscribe button and let's get right into it. We have Nick Reynolds here, famously known as Bongozozo. So let him introduce himself. Hey brother, how are you doing?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
Let's not start with the English. For the people that don't know, for the viewers that don't know you, let's let them hear what you're famously known for.
Navyongea Kiswahili yani. Basi kile kikuku kiko hapo kaka. Ile pale ndio ya kuringa kidogo na Kiswahili. Au mimi Kiswahili yani Kiswahili ni lugha ambayo unajifunza kila siku, unaongeza kila siku. Napenda methali. Hata methali moja nilijifunza juzi tu. Kenge, kusikia kwa kenge hadi damu puani. Ina maana gani hiyo? Ina maana gani?
I don't know myself.
You know, okay, so that in English means to feel like or to sense like a monitor lizard until blood pours from his nose. If you throw a stone at a monitor lizard, it doesn't move. Yeah? Okimrushidiwe kenge hasoge mpaka pigwe. So that's the meaning of the proverb, is that you should listen to the warnings that are around you before they hurt you. There you go. That's an example. Bas, haya Kiswahili hicho hapa. Turudi kwenye Kiingereza.
Now, we've spoken Swahili, and behind the cameras I asked you how long it took you to learn Swahili. You said 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
And so our first question here today is, what initially inspired you to speak Swahili, and how did this journey begin for you?
Women, yeah. I was in Iringa, I was 21, I was single. Tanzanian women are beautiful, I can't tell you. It's just unbelievably, and you know, coming from England where we're not used to such a nice shape. Yeah, so well, unfortunately, the woman I'm talking about, I actually married, so I've done nothing wrong there. Yeah. But when we met, she wasn't speaking much English, and I wanted to learn Swahili. So we started speaking Swahili, and I made it a point to learn quickly. It was very easy to learn quickly because, as a white man learning an African language, you get a lot of support when you say a few words, you know, and there's a few words you can learn that make people laugh. And so you say this word, it makes everyone laugh and they congratulate you. I'm learning French at the moment because I'm going to Côte d'Ivoire for AFCON. I spend time in Senegal and Cameroon. My French is really bad. I've been learning it for 30 years and my French is terrible. Because when I'm saying something in French, I won't make anyone laugh. And nobody will say, wow, your French is good. Because I do not speak French. Are you French? Are you not French? But when you're speaking Swahili, what you're doing, you're showing an effort to love the country and love the culture. You can't learn Swahili without learning the culture. There's so much culture involved in the language. So that's why you said at the beginning of this podcast, when Tanzanian people see foreigners learning Swahili, why they're happy is because they're saying, oh, this person wants to come to this country with love. They want to come and experience the fullness of our culture and our people. They're not just coming here. Traditionally, white people came to Africa to exploit, to take the resources. People in Africa can be wary of white people. I'm wary of white people in Africa. Yeah, you start speaking a language, he says, okay, well, you've come with the motivation to love this place. And of course, Tanzanians are the most welcoming people in the world. And I've been to many countries, and the welcome is open arms. If you're going to learn Swahili, karibu, welcome to our country.
You said you started learning Swahili because of you like Tanzanian women, and behind the camera we're talking, you said you are married to a Tanzanian woman. So there's a saying that says that when you go black, you never go back. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's very true, to the point where I believe that maybe some witchcraft was used. Because why is it that I can't leave this woman? You know, we've been together in a variety of capacities for the last 24 years. And whereas I joke about a witchcraft, what I mean by saying this is not that there's anything put in my food, although I wonder sometimes, but I just think being with an African woman when you're a white man, you get a completely different experience. So the experience in Europe of a European relationship is a very balanced, equal. Both parties work, which is fine. I believe in equality. Yeah, and women have equal rights to men, 100%. But sometimes it's nice when you get cooked for. It's just really nice when Tanzanian women especially know how to cook. Mama Jessica, that's my mother of my children. She knows how to cook very well, and sometimes it's nice to feel like a hunter. Yeah. In the old days, us men used to go hunting. Yeah, and then we come back, and then our women are home. Now that's a very traditional view, and once again, I emphasize the fact that no, if Mama Jessica, for example, does work, actually, and when I come home, no, I'm actually cooking for her, I understand. But at the heart of an African-European relationship seems to be this beautiful balance of new and old, yeah, and of course the children that you get are beautiful. There's nothing like the children from an African and European marriage, and in fact, there's a DNA reason for it, because if you look at when you have children with very close relatives, yeah, those children can be deformed sometimes. So what humanity has done to succeed is it likes to join DNA from very different regions. Yeah, so that my children have DNA from Europe and from Africa, which is joined to create super kids. Actually, my kids are super kids. All these mixed race kids are indeed super kids because they're drawing from different strands of DNA. It's a belief of mine.
Now, you talked about 3 months you learned fluent Swahili. What was the process like? But also, were there any challenges you were facing when you were learning Swahili?
No, there weren't challenges. Look, I'm quite a competitive person, and when I was in Iringa, there were some friends there, British friends like me, who were, attracted to Tanzanian women. So we all had Tanzanian girlfriends. I'm friends with them up till today. And in those days, we were all learning Swahili, so I'm quite competitive. I wanted to learn more. Learning a language is putting hours in. You just sit there for hours writing out words. There was a time I locked myself in a room. You write a word on a flashcard and you stick it on the wall, yeah? and you just stick in your walls completely covered with these flashcards. And then you get someone to lock you in that room for 5 hours. You go a bit mad, you're just looking at these words, learning these words. 5 hours later, you're coming out with a knowledge of vocabulary. I always found that because in Tanzania, people like to talk, people like to converse, they like to sit on the sides of the road drinking coffee and talking. Yeah, it's a huge difference from learning English. Because if you're learning English, you're learning it in books, you're learning it on TV. You're not learning it in conversation. Whereas Swahili was conversation. So I realized if I learn the words, then I can learn the grammar through conversation. So there has been no challenges to me learning Swahili at all. It's very, very easy to learn. You just got to put the hours in, like anything.
I previously tried to learn Turkish for 1 year, but I couldn't be as fluent as you are in Swahili, which, by the way, you learned it in 3 months. So what are the tips, like your best takeaways for someone who wants to learn a new language?
Yes, so were you in Turkey?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you're in Turkey. Did you have a Turkish girlfriend?
No, not really.
That's your issue. That's your issue. If you were speaking fluent Turkish now, your wife or girlfriend would not be happy with you because you would be caught in the act of cheating. Because if you suddenly see that I'm speaking fluent Chinese, understand that I have a Chinese girlfriend, right? Which is my plan, actually. I want to learn all languages of the world, so bring me women from different countries so I can learn the language. It's for the development of international linguistics. Bring me women.
I guess Musa, same goes to me. I tried to learn Arabic, I tried to learn Turkish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the tip.
Arabic. If I wanted to learn Arabic, I'd go to Oman. I've been to Oman before. It's a beautiful country. Beautiful country, beautiful people. They feed you so much food there. But I'd say, please find me in Oman you can't get a girlfriend, you have to get a wife. I'd just marry there. I'd say, look, let's get a marriage until I learn the language. 3 months later, I say, sorry, man. Job done.
Now, you're fluent in Swahili. And also, when we started the episode, I talked about how you have been able to do a lot of different stuff. It was behind the camera. I was telling you, you've been able to see the ministers. You've been able to connect with different people through learning the language. You are the ambassador for the national football team. So what professional opportunities do you think, what doors has it opened for you ever since you've learned Swahili?
Well, that is something I'm learning all the time. You see, with me, I don't believe in short-term gains, right? I'm a long-term person. So, for example, let me give you a metaphor. I like to plant ebony seeds, rather than sunflower seeds. If you plant sunflower seeds, your sunflowers will grow very quickly, but the wind comes and blows them over. Yeah, I prefer ebony trees, which take 20, 30 years to grow, but then you have something solid and you have something worthwhile. At the moment, I'm enjoying making connections with, like you say, ministers and ex-presidents. I had the pleasure of meeting Honourable former President, Dr. Kikwete, Dr. Mwinyi, the father of the current Dr. Mwinyi in Zanzibar. And I'm sure they're lining me up to meet the current president, Mama Samia. It's an honour and a privilege to meet these people. I'm not going into these meetings looking for opportunity. And I think that's the best thing to do. You know, they say the best time to get a girlfriend or a wife or a relationship is when you're not looking. Yeah. It just comes and bites you. See, that's the thing. I think if I was meeting all these people looking for opportunity, it becomes apparent. He's just looking for opportunity. I'm actually looking for new experiences. I'm a new experiences guy. I'm a traveler. I like to have new experiences. Even this podcast here, this is an exciting experience for me. I'm not looking for anything from it, but things will come.
Mm-hmm. So just to take away from that, you talked about the opportunities. So for example, for someone who's watching, you talked about how you shouldn't be chasing opportunities rather than wait for them, for example. But let's say, for example, I'm at home and I'm not doing anything. Would the opportunities come to me?
No,
or
they won't. No.
Am I supposed to do the basic things and then the opportunity to come to?
No, you need to volunteer. The secret is volunteering. Yeah, and so that's what I've been doing all the time. I go and kujitolea, yani called volunteer. When I was in Asia, I went to Asia and I met up with the Tanzanians and I interviewed them. Every single one of them were volunteers in some capacity. I said, how did you come to Taiwan? Oh, we were volunteering in some kind of program in Dar es Salaam. Yeah. When you and so for me, whenever I was at school as a kid, the teacher would say, can I have a volunteer? I would put my hand up without knowing what the task was. And sometimes you get a bad task. Most of the time you don't. Most of the time you get a chance to learn something new. I'm just ready to volunteer. So you don't sit at home, you leave home and you go and do things for free. Everyone's too obsessed with needing to get paid for stuff. Just go and do it for free. You'll be okay. Yeah.
So we talked about how you promote the national team, Tanzania, Taifa Stars. So what does promoting this team, essentially basically promoting the whole country, and how do you approach this type of responsibilities? I believe you were given this task to make sure you promote it well. I mean, we were at breakfast, we talked about promoting this country so that we are going to Cote d'Ivoire, we're going to Ivory Coast next year. So how do you approach this type of responsibility and through speaking a whole different language? Because I'm sure even when you're Ivory Coast, people say, Bongozozo, naongea Swahili. People be like, where did they find this guy from? And it's amazing other people's eyes. So how do you approach this type of responsibility? Because it's a very big responsibility talking about you're promoting the whole country.
I mean, that's true there. I mean, what I do have an expertise in branding. If you think about Bongozozo and Fuji Siomiza, those are brands that I've created. It's a talent I have. And so what I've realized with Tanzania is that the brand is the flag is the brand. And if you see at all these events I go to, these sporting events, I've always got flags. I've got a supplier of flags from China, which I get in and I take flags to events. Even when Taifa Stars qualified for AFCON in Algeria a few months ago, those flags that were taken onto the pitch were taken on by me. I took the flags from UK to Algeria, and then when we won, I got onto the pitch, got those flags to the players. Because what I'm interested in, so I'm interested in sports. Football, okay. I'm actually really interested in athletics and marathon running, and it's indeed something that Tanzanians as East Africans are better at than football. I know Tanzanians would prefer to be better at football, but football tends to be an upper body sport, and West Africans are built with upper bodies, and that's why West Africans generally are better footballers. Tanzanians don't want to hear that. They want to be better footballers. What we have here is very good long distance runners, and that's to do with the savannah. The fact that we're in a savannah environment, and for tens of thousands of years, Tanzanians have been very good at running across savannah to chase prey, for example, in prehistoric times. So I like to promote that, and so the way I want to promote that is because, yes, you're right, I was entrusted ambassador of tourism, okay, which I do by waving the flag at sports events. But the reason I do it at sports events, okay, also when I go to foreign countries, I do wave the flag in the middle of the street, and I keep asking people, what is this flag? Largely because people don't know. And I want to make the point that a lot of work needs to be done. People know the Kenyan flag. Now, the reason they know the Kenyan flag is through their sports. Their marathon runners are better, actually. It's very similar structure of bodies. You know, it's just that they have had more success in running. People know the Kenyan flags, they don't know the Tanzanian flag so much. So I want to change that because the flag is the brand of Tanzania. So I'd like to show the link as well between sports and tourism. Yeah, tourism is a massive revenue earner here in this country. Okay, so if I can show the connection between sports and tourism, then more money government money will be put into sports. Because if you want your Taifa Stars, the football team to succeed, if you want your runners to succeed, it needs government backing through schools. So how do you persuade them to do that? Well, you persuade them to say, look, we take the flag, we take the brand of Tanzania with our sports people.
As we talked yesterday, you told me you retired when you were 45 years old. Like, that's a very, very big step, and you retired so early considering in this country the retirement age is up to 65 years. So, and you always talk about someone making their own destiny, which can mean different to different people. For someone, it can mean having a good health. For someone else, it can mean having a lot of money. For someone, it can mean maybe having freedom. Like for me personally, having freedom, it means I've made my own destiny. And when I talk about freedom, I mean like financial freedom, location freedom. And when I look at you, I can see that you have made your own destiny, but everyone has their own definition. So to you, what does it mean to having made your own destiny?
That's a very good question, because the question where you say, look, what does it mean to you? Because once you've asked that question, you're actually defining the parameters of the answer, because